yelled Nashawn Shelton at Madison Grocery and Beauty Supply last November, upset over paying a 22% sales tax on a can of soda that he was trying to buy from this grocery store. He leveled a .22 caliber semi-automatic pistol at the clerks and patrons of the store and began to yell to them, "I'm going to shoot you in the head 3 times, I'm going to smoke your ass and kill everyone here." Just so far this year in 2014, 75 people have been shot and killed in the city of Chicago. 372 people have been wounded by gunfire. What would your reaction be if you were the next person in line at the store? What if this guy started to fire and your life was being threatened? As the saying goes, when seconds count, the police are only minutes away. As a husband and a father, I take the safety of my family very seriously. As a man who was taught firearm safety and usage from a young age, and as a military veteran, I believe that firearms have a purpose outside of hunting and that they can be used safely. That being said, there's nothing special about me. Anybody here can learn how to use them safely and purposefully as well. Firearms should be available for more purposes than just hunting. For those who feel as though their lives are in danger, they should be able to use them as well. To understand the utility of what I like to call defensive gun use, first I'd like to analyze trends of violent crime in Chicago over recent years, then explain the importance of defensive firearms, and why other defensive tools such as tasers and pepper spray are inadequate for self-defense. First, let's look at violent crimes in the city of Chicago. If you ask any Chicago resident, violent crime has been spinning out of control in the city. It peaked in 2011, has been getting slightly better since that year. But despite their best efforts, the Chicago Police Department struggles to fight crime. As anybody who's been following the news knows, they're woefully undermanned and underfunded. Over the past 10 years, the murder rate for Chicago has been drastically above that of New York City or Los Angeles, even though those cities are far larger than Chicago. According to a study released for the year 2013 by the FBI's Criminal Justice Information Services Division, which was released early in 2014, there were 433 murders, not justifiable homicides, murders, for the 2.7 million Chicago residents last year, compared to 350 murders for the over 8 million residents of New York City last year. When your citizens are left to fend for themselves, they should have a method to defend themselves with, rather than just hoping that the police get there when somebody has a gun pointed at their face. Few things the Chicago Police Department are trying to get right. They're trying to hire new officers. When Rahm Emanuel came into office several years ago, he pledged to try and get the numbers up. But according to a February article written by Jeremy Gorner in the Chicago Tribune, the number of officers has actually shrunk by 10% since 2011, when Rahm Emanuel took office. Nevertheless, they at least seem to understand that cops are the best immediate answer to fighting crime on our streets. But as politicians and sociologists debate how to fix crime, how will you all be able to defend yourselves? One controversial yet increasingly popular solution is concealed carry, or the concealed carry of a firearm. More states than ever are issuing permits. As a matter of fact, just earlier this year, Illinois became the last state in the country that did not allow for any concealed carry of weapons. Many lawmakers and police chiefs hail this as a cheap and effective way to reduce crime. Obviously, if criminals know that their potential victims have the ability to defend themselves, they're going to be a lot less likely to try and rob you, to try and break into your home, or to try and shoot you in the head because you don't want to, because they want to get out of paying taxes. According to data released by the FBI Uniform Crime Reporting Program, violent crime rate has decreased when states began to shall issue carry laws. A shall issue law is when the state legislature says that anybody who is qualified, who has the mental capacity and has a clean criminal record, must be issued by the state a permit to carry a weapon. Illinois was the last state that did not have some sort of provision for concealed carry on the books. Violent crime peaked in 1991 and began to fall off sharply in the early 90s when states throughout the country began to issue concealed carry permits. According to a January 2nd, 2014 interview with Detroit Police Chief James Craig, good community members who have concealed guns deter crimes and save lives. When confronted with an immediate threat, you have no time to wait for police. According to a March 24th interview or article in the Chicago Sun-Times by Dan Mihalopoulos, response times vary throughout the city. It takes 3 times longer for the Chicago police to respond to a crime in the south side and the west side, far more active with gangs than in the north side. Some situations it's obviously inappropriate to use firearms. It's the responsibility of every concealed carry holder to know when it is appropriate to even draw a weapon. Bullets often don't stop on a hit, and citizens must be well-trained in marksmanship, safety, and law. Police are doing a brave job. Crime is lower in Chicago so far this year than it was last year, but that could simply be because the cold weather is keeping people indoors. Next, let's go over a common argument that you guys may have against firearm use. Obviously, it's a scary proposition. Why, you ask, are guns necessary? Why a Glock and not a stun gun or a can of mace? They have limited practical use and they malfunction. All require short range, and some of them even require you be in arm distance of the person attacking you. Take, for example, a Huffington Post story published on November 22nd. A 29-year-old father was waiting for his daughter to be dropped off by a school bus when 3 men jumped out of a van and proceeded to attack him with a stun gun. The stun gun failed. His .40 caliber Smith & Wesson didn't. He struck his would-be assailant twice in the buttocks, and then I see that look, in the butt, and then proceeded to administer emergency medical care until the EMTs arrived. The man lived and was obviously very recalcitrant for the attack. Looks like I've dropped something that I didn't intend to. Firearms are the only thing that really work against multiple attackers. Most of the time, simply making a motion to your gun is enough to stop the attack. The picture is clear. When your life is on the line, there's only one thing you can depend on, and that's yourself. In conclusion, there are too few policemen, too many criminals, and because of this, private citizens like you and I should be able to access firearms for defense. As I said, as of January 1st, Illinois is a concealed carry state. I don't expect all of you here to go out and buy a firearm and apply for a permit, but if I've changed or opened up one mind, then I think I've done my job. If any of you have any questions about this, feel free to approach me after class. I'd be glad to discuss it with you. As for the grocery store robber, he never got a chance to fire. The police mercifully got there in time and arrested him. But if you were the next in line, wouldn't you rather be an armed victim than a target?